there, trendsetters. Welcome to another deep dive into the trends shaping our world.
Right. I mean, who doesn't love a good trend deep dive?
This one's going to be good. We're really getting into how to ride those waves of change, all about using trends to, actually find success. And we're pulling insights from this awesome guide.
3 ways to successfully navigate trends.
Yeah, from Culinary Tides, Inc.
They're the experts, especially when it comes to the food industry. But honestly, what they're talking about is useful for any field.
Totally. The principles, they all kind of apply no matter what you're doing.
Because at the end of the day, it's all about change, right? And how we adapt.
Exactly. So Culinary Tides, they kick things off with this concept. It's they call it the puzzle piece trap.
A puzzle piece trap. Okay, I like it.
It's cool, right? So they compare analyzing trends to, well, like a jigsaw puzzle. You ever done one of those?
Who hasn't?
So imagine this. You're putting it together and you find this piece, right? And it's like this vibrant coral reef. Stunning.
Okay, I'm picturing it. Beautiful colors.
But does that automatically mean like the whole puzzle is going to be underwater?
Not necessarily.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right. Could be anything. Maybe it's like a bustling city and that reef. Just a small aquarium in the corner.
Yeah.
Misleading.
Exactly. And that's what they're getting at with the puzzle piece trap. It's like you see one little piece of data, maybe a sales spike, a positive survey, easy to think, boom, trends.
Right. You get all excited, but
without the full picture, without context, that trend could lead you down the wrong path.
Totally. Like you wouldn't base your business strategy on like one tweet, right? You need more.
Absolutely. And that's where Culinary Tides, they really hit on something crucial. You got to dig deeper, look for the drivers behind a trend, not just the surface stuff.
Okay, so not just like noticing the tides changing. We need to understand like the moon's gravity that's causing it.
Exactly. What's actually driving those changes in consumer behavior? What are the factors at play?
So we're talking like technology shifts, cultural stuff, even global events, right?
Everything. All those things influence how people think, feel, spend money.
Yeah.
And ignoring them. That's how you fall into the trap.
Makes total sense. So what's like a real world example of this?
Plant-based foods. That's a good one. A few years back, it exploded. Everyone's jumping on board.
Yeah, plant-based everything.
Right. And some companies, they saw those early sales. The hype.
Yeah.
Figured, boom, long-term growth. Guaranteed.
Makes sense, right? Catch the wave early.
But that's where understanding those drivers, it's key. Did they actually look at why plant-based was trending?
Yeah, were people choosing it just because of taste? Or was it more like health concerns, the environment, animal welfare even?
And were those factors strong enough to last? Because misreading that, that's where those financial implications come in.
Because you've poured resources into something and then it just fizzled.
Exactly. Research, development, marketing, all down the drain because you didn't see the full picture.
So, lesson learned. Before we get swept up in the excitement of a trend, we got to pause. Look for those drivers. Are they here to stay?
Right. Are we talking a rip current that'll pull us under? Or a nice gentle wave to ride to success? And that, my friend, is where things get really interesting.
So we're talking about trends and how important it is to really understand what's driving them. But I got to say, sometimes even when you see a trend, like taking off, it's tempting to just kind of follow the leader.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when you see someone else, a competitor maybe, and they're having success with it.
Right. Like, why reinvent the wheel?
Exactly. But Culinary Tides, they have this warning about that. They call it blind imitation.
Blind imitation. Okay.
Just because it works for one company doesn't mean it's the right strategy for everyone.
Yeah.
It's tempting, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see someone killing it with a product or a marketing campaign, you think, I got to do that too.
Right. Like everyone's doing plant-based burgers now, so I got to jump on that train.
Exactly. But without understanding the nuances, right? Their target market, their brand, their whole deal. It's just not going to work the same way. Trends, they're not one size fits all.
Okay, so how do we go beyond just copying what's working for someone else? How do we like chart our own course through all these trends?
Culinary Tides, they really stress understanding the why behind a trend's path, like where it came from, how it got here, and most importantly, where it's going.
Okay, so not just where the trend is now, but where it's headed.
Exactly. We need to think 6 months out, 12 months, even 2 years ahead.
So it's like seeing a wave, but knowing if it's going to crash or keep rolling, right?
Exactly. Anticipate the direction, the momentum. That's how you ride it.
So thinking back to plant-based burgers, some companies jumped in, but Culinary Tides, they mentioned a client who actually opted out.
They did.
Why would they do that? It seemed like the obvious thing to do.
They did their research, they dug into those drivers we talked about,
Mm-hmm.
and realized, yeah, the initial sales were strong, but long-term, the factors weren't really there for them.
So they saw the waves, but also that it might fizzle out.
Exactly. Consumer preferences, they're always changing. Plant-based was growing, sure, but it wasn't going to replace everything else.
And by recognizing that, they saved themselves from a big mistake.
Huge. They could focus on something else, something with more long-term potential.
Talk about riding the wave of success. Okay, so understanding the drivers, looking beyond just what's hot right now, not blindly imitating. What else do we have to consider when it comes to navigating trends?
Well, Culinary Tides, they have this third key. They say we need to look beyond our own backyards.
Okay, interesting. So it's not enough to just understand trends in our own little world.
Nope, not even close. You got to break free from what they call industry tunnel vision.
Industry tunnel vision. Okay, yeah, I can see how that would be a problem. It's easy to get so focused on your own thing, you miss what's happening around you.
Right, and that's where, the real opportunity is. Culinary Tides, they talk about this idea of cross-industry pollination, basically. Trends in one area, they can often signal shifts that end up impacting others, even if it's not obvious right away.
Okay, I'm intrigued. But give me an example. How does that actually work?
So let's say you're in, I don't know, food packaging.
Right.
You might think, what does sustainable fashion have to do with me? I'm talking recycled materials, all that.
Yeah, totally different industries.
Right. But what if that trend toward recycled clothing, what if that's a sign of something bigger? Consumers caring more about sustainability in general, that's going to impact food packaging too, eventually.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Like people are making those eco-conscious choices in one part of their lives, and that's going to spill over into other areas too.
Exactly. Or another example, you're a restaurant owner. You might not think, oh, got to keep up with the latest wellness tech. But what if those advancements, they signal something, like people are getting more into personalized nutrition, biohacking even.
So suddenly, offering menu options for specific diets or using ingredients with like extra health benefits, it's not just trendy, it's smart business.
That's the power of looking beyond your own backyard. Seeing those connections, even if they seem unrelated at first. That's how you become a trend anticipator, not just someone reacting after the fact.
So instead of just riding the waves, we're talking about like understanding the tides.
Exactly. And it all starts with that curiosity, right?
Yeah.
That willingness to look outside your bubble.
This has been seriously eye-opening.
Yeah.
So to wrap things up, what's the one big takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I think it's this. Understanding trends, it's not passive. It's not enough to just like read a report or something. You got to be active. Ask questions, challenge assumptions, and connect those dots.
Be a trend detective, basically.
Exactly. Look for those clues. Piece together the bigger picture, and the more you do it, the better you'll be at navigating those changes and coming out ahead.
Love it. So to all you trendsetters out there, keep your eyes open, stay curious. What's happening in other industries that might be a sign of things to come in your world? Think about those drivers and how they might impact you. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and as always, keep riding those waves of success.